Okay, here we are with Martin Barre, and Martin, we're here to talk about your new album, Road Less Travelled. It's just come out, and you've been quite prolific the last few years. It's a 4th album in 5 years, solo album, and I'd like to know a little bit about how this album has developed compared to the Back to Steel album that you brought out previously.
An extension of it, maybe. I mean, the Back to Steel was, and I sound like I'm quoting something, but to me it was a big turning point because it was the first album that had a lot of my songwriting on it. The ones before were more instrumental, if not entirely instrumental. So this was a really key point for me and the band, because I wanted the band to have more material to play live. But that still nevertheless had 2 Tull tracks. It had a Beatles track on it, so it was a bit of a cop out on the writing. Not really, but on the writing front. So this one, I just want it to be all my writing on it. So it sinks or swims because of what I've done.
And do you think you've developed as a songwriter through your solo albums then?
Well, I've developed. Which way I've developed? Yeah, I hope so, because I really want to be a better songwriter, and I just think my guitar playing, I'm in a comfort zone with my guitar playing. I've been doing it so long that I can do it in my sleep, but it's such a joy that I'm not challenging myself probably as much as I could do. But songwriting, I know that I'm a beginner, so there's a lot of challenge in the actual process of doing the lyrics, and I love writing. The more I've written, particularly since Tull finished, the more I've loved actually writing and arranging music.
The thing that impressed me listening through to the album a few times is the arrangements. Some are surprising, some are eclectic, some are just beautiful. Is that a thing you spent a lot of time on, or did it come naturally?
I love doing it, so I don't know if that's natural. I mean, probably nothing's natural, because I don't have a gift, and maybe people who are incredible artists might have a gift because they just do it without even thinking. No, I work hard at the arrangements. I work really hard on the musicality of the songs, and I work really, really hard on the lyrics. It probably took the longest of anything to do.
And as the title suggests, there's kind of a journey or road-based theme to it, and that's reflected in reading the lyrics as well.
Yeah, I just think that my ideas through being a musician are to go to different places, sort of areas of music and playing that aren't obvious, and where most people haven't gone. I mean, everything's been done in music by somebody, but I try and find a little niche or a collection of niches that make it a bit different, and I like music that's a bit different rather than being just sort of spectacularly accomplished. Like the virtuoso players are amazing, but they're not in my world. I just like I'm more satisfied by a really sweet arrangement of music where there's light and shade and dynamics, and I find that the most satisfying part of it.
So the album kicks off with Lone Wolf, which is actually one of my favourite tracks on the album.
Okay. Yeah.
It's got like a nod to the past with the mandolins, but it's also got like a real crunchy edge to it.
Yeah, well, I wrote it on mandolin, and then because I've got a mandolin and a bouzouki, I sort of build up a sort of little mini orchestra of mandolin style instruments, and then sort of harmonise them, and it's fun to do it. It's a bad habit, but it's also fun. So it was sort of based around the music being written on mandolin.
And I love the song Seattle. It's kind of a love song to Seattle about returning to the Northern Lights. I mean,
yeah.
Has there ever been a romantic song written about Seattle before?
No, well, I'm from Birmingham, that's the same question. Yeah, I left my heart in Birmingham. No. I don't know why, you know, it wasn't the initial idea. I wrote the music, in fact I wrote the parts of the music in that song I wrote for Back to Steel, but it never developed into something that I was satisfied with. But that little part of it, as a part of the riff, I just really liked it, so I redeveloped it, and it sort of worked out a lot better. And then the lyrics were the last thing, and I've got a lot of memories of being in Seattle, and they're sort of in the song. They're either subtle or as plain as the nose on your face, I don't know. But I have all these sort of memories of the gigs we've done there, going back to '69 when the Eagles were our support band, and I think Barre was playing guitar. And we stayed at the Edgewater Inn, which is where Zappa wrote Mud Shark. I'm on dangerous territory because I'm really testing my memory, but they were really sort of strong memories, and every time I've visited it, something nice has happened.
So is that your favourite track on the album?
No, I like them all.
So
I like them all, but
putting that to one side, if someone was presented with this album and they had just 5 minutes, is there one track you point towards?
Normally I would have one, and on another album, on my early ones, I probably would. But I'm pleased to say that I don't have anyone that I'm not more involved with. I don't have a favourite on there.
Okay.
I'd have to say I really want somebody to listen to the whole album. So I think there's a lot of contrast in there, and the contrast is as important as any one track. So, like, you know, when it's the Ali singing the Angel song, it's got an important place in the CD because I can't remember. Yes, but you know, the one before is a sort of really up-tempo rock and roll song in my mind, and then the next song is a sort of very sweet melodic with Ali's voice on it. I like the fact that you can. I try and have really big contrast, so the listeners just doesn't know what's going to happen next.
What I really liked, I noticed to have the album on repeat, is that with the last song and the band played on, if you let it segue into the first album, it segues perfectly, and I didn't realise the album had finished. And so, you're right. There's a really good balance to it.
Yeah. Well, I know what you mean. I won't say I've had it with mine, but some of my favourite albums, I play it in the car, and my wife will be sort of sat there, and I've gone round twice, and say, "Oh, I think we've already heard all this." I go, "Oh, really?" So it's a compliment. I quite like the fact that, you know, you sort of keep going round, and it sort of sounds fresh every time.
So let's talk a little bit about the personnel, the guys that first of all playing on the album, and then the guys you've been touring with and will be touring with. Mm-hmm. So you've got
okay. Shall I start?
We've got Dan Crisp as a singer and your co-guitarist live.
Yes.
How did you find him?
We live in the same area in the southwest of England. I think we met Dan's parents, and I've got to search my memory of the circumstances, but obviously I became aware of Dan, and he was a solo singer-songwriter, and I went to see him play and really liked what he did. And then we got together as a duo and did some little sort of pub gigs in Cornwall and Devon, just for a bit of fun. And then, sort of 2 years into when I was on my own after Tull finished, I needed a singer, and I thought, what about Dan? You know, and it was like he was there all the time, but I didn't see him, and it was the obvious choice, and that was it. You know, we got together, and Dan's just sort of blossomed as a singer and a guitar player and a performer.
And you also have Alan Thompson on bass, who's really
Yeah.
prominent on the album.
Yeah.
Really plays an important counter-melodic part.
Yeah, well, he's an amazing musician. I mean, he's just a very clever player, and Alan I never give him any sort of pointers. You know, I just say to Alan, just play your heart out. You know, experiment. You know, if it goes wrong, let it go wrong. But he's amazing. You know, you give him a lot of space, and he blossoms within it. And Alan was introduced me through Dave Pegg, Fairport.
Yeah.
I think, you know, at the time looking for a bass player, and he said, "Oh, you should try Alan." And I sort of knew the name, but didn't know anything about him. So I gave him a whole set list. I said, "But you know, this is our set list." And I come up to London, and we've got a rehearsal room, and I booked it for the whole afternoon. After 10 minutes, we just stopped playing. Said, "Oh, great, that's it." It's instant. He'd learnt everything.
So how was it playing your own festival? You played A New Day. It's almost it's like your Cruise to the Edge, named after a Tull song, or was it?
Yeah. What came first? I'm not sure what came first. Is it coincidence? But you know, I really don't know what came first. But mine was after New Day yesterday.
Yes.
And I just thought, for me, you know, starting a band was a new day for me, literally. And at the time I thought, oh, that's a clever idea. And then it wore off. The novelty wore off. And it went.
So you played a couple of dates, festival dates in the summer. You've got a whole lot of shows lined up in the States.
Yeah.
And then you're playing Hard Rock Hell Prague, as far as I remember, later in the year.
Oh yeah.
So what can we expect when you come back, wizened and road hardened?
Well, we're always road hardened. We did a 5-week European tour in April. We were in the States at the beginning of the year. We haven't stopped. I think we've had maybe like a 2-week gap. But then the summer's nice because I love festivals, and then just having an odd one here and there, it's quite nice. It's just sort of a bit of a contrast. And then you go to America or do UK European tour, and it's just so full on. I mean, you're really in at the deep end. It's just a different mindset, and we love it. It's hard work, but I think the festival summers is a holiday because we get the weeks off. Just weekends.
And we're also on the cusp of the proper 50th anniversary of you joining the band and Stand Up.
Glad you said that. It's very nice of you. It's a sort of a difficult area because so many bands use an anniversary as a bit of bullshit. Just, you know, an excuse to go out and try and make a bit of money. But and I've avoided. Well, it's my 50th anniversary, so it's important to me. And it sort of started being called that because in America it's the 50th anniversary. We went to the States in 1969, but it was a germ of an idea a few years ago, and I sort of resisted it because I quite like the fact that I give my music equal or more importance in my band than Jethro Tull's music. So if there is Jethro Tull music, I'll rearrange it or just present it in a completely different format to make it a bit more mine. But this is an idea that as it slowly took shape, it became more exciting. So I want to be excited about it. And the fact that Clive Bunker's going to do it helps a big deal, because that's mega. And then Jonathan Noyce, who I play with a lot anyway.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun. All the guys from my band are involved. The 2 girls who sing on the CD are involved. Mm-hmm. So it's a big show. It's a big commitment, and it's all Jethro Tull, and it'll really will be a history of the 50 years of music, and we do a double CD, re-record a load of songs.
because I know the Parlophone put a 50 and 50 compilation together earlier on this year.
Oh, really?
Just like 50 tracks from
know
the
that.
archive.
Oh, I better change my title.
that's been in John, and then Ian.
I haven't even heard it. I haven't seen it.
And then Ian's talking about doing something for next year as well.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's better that I don't know, because if there was something that prevented me doing what I wanted to do, it would be a bad thing, because I only want to do something that's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of good music, so I don't want anything that would be a hiccup in that. But yeah, I mean, there's space for everybody.
So does stand-up still stand up?
It does. It does. It's not particularly focused on stand-up, although obviously in my world that's the first Jethro Tull album. But yeah, I've started revisiting those songs as being part of this next year's project, and we're going to be playing those this year. So there's 3 songs on stand-up that we're going to add to the set, but they sound really good. They're really good. I haven't messed about with them too much.
Is there
just a bit?
I know you've varied your set over the years. Is there any song that you're looking forward to reintroducing to the set that you could tell us about?
I could tell you about them. Should I? Yeah, why not? Well, we're doing Back to the Family for 1,000 Mothers. Nothing is easy. But I haven't played them for a long time, and the whole approach is different because there's no flute in it. Keyboards came on the next album, but it's the same thing. We play Hunting Girl, but there's no flute and there's no double keyboards, so it's almost like rewriting it, rearranging it, and making it work. And it might. There's no guarantee it's going to work, but it did, and we play it live, and it sounds great. Well, I think it sounds great, and it's fun because it's just a sort of a different angle. Musically it's the same, but it's guitars doing all the keyboard parts, and it works really well. The
parallel that I draw, and I think there may have been a few days as well, was with what Carl Palmer's doing with his Legacy project, where he has a guitar player playing the Keith Emerson lines.
Really? Yeah. Oh, he does, right.
Yeah. So it's the same songs, but it's a different flavour, and it's a new energy.
Yeah. I've not heard his set, but yeah, I mean it is, and you know, it works because I play flute. And I guess the bottom line is, if it really, with all respect to Ian, if it really has to have a flute on it, then I'll play it. But so far, guitar's a powerful instrument, and that there's not a lot, in my mind, that a guitar can't do.
That's a perfect segue. Let's close up talking about your guitar playing.
Thing to say.
With your name, was it preordained that you become a guitar player? That with bar chords moving to lead parts?
Yeah, I was born to be a guitar player. Yeah. I came out doing a bar chord. No. I'm afraid it's no. But my family were French, and my granddad was a violinist. So I'd never believe in musical families, you know, like.
Yeah.
It makes you want to throw up. Oh yes, we're all very musical, you know. No. But it's nice that there's a thread. I mean, the thing that my granddad obviously loved music. He was a chef because he never had any money from music, so he fed the family, excuse the pun, by being a chef.
Yeah.
Then my dad grew up loving music, and he wanted to play clarinet. And he was never able to do it because he never had any money.
Yeah.
So he went into a factory. But when I threw away all my sort of career, whatever it was going to be, turned my back on it and played music, he never said a word. So he never supported me verbally, but he never held me back. And I didn't even think about it, but I know why. It's because I was doing what he wanted to do, was never able to. So it's cool, and my son loves music. Doesn't play an instrument, but good. He loves music.
Here's what I got to ask. I know your parents gave you a fantastic middle name. Did you give your son a similarly?
I did, a very similar middle name.
Go on then.
It's almost identical. It's Lancelot. is Cameron Lancelot Barre, and my grandson is Lancelot as well. Yeah.
Did your parents ever tell you what inspired them to dub thee after a night?
No, it was my dad's first name, and it's a French Christian name.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's all coincidences all the way up. And of course I played for the sort of rock opera called Excalibur.
Yeah.
And that was another because Lancelot, perfect. Silly suits.
I guess the very last thing is that there's a story. There are lots of guitarists that give you great praise for what you've done, for your body of work. But most often it goes back to the solo in Aqualung. Or, I mean, it's more a sequence of beautiful melodies and counter melodies. So tell us about the recording, because didn't Jimmy Page turn up?
Yeah. I'm more concerned about your description of the solo. Doesn't quite match my take on it.
I'd be fascinated to learn.
Bum notes and it's a bit not a bit flat. It was a little instant, a little instant spot in time that can never be repeated. I would say would never need to be repeated. It was all, we were naive. I think all bands were, we were learning how to play our instruments. So, I listened to other bands of that era and the playing, it's exciting because it's really basic and grungy. And they were all one-take solos. You had one chance and one track. You didn't have two tracks to play with. You had your track for the solo. And if you couldn't do it, somebody else would do it, namely a flute player. But so Jimmy Page walked in the studio and started waving madly in the middle of it, and I just thought, no, I'm not going to stop playing.
Because they were recording Led Zeppelin 2.
They were. We never saw them for like a month. They were sort of buried in the basement, we never saw them at all. And he just happened to come up to say hello.
But it must be nice that just in retrospect, people like Page says it's his favourite solo. Joe Bonamassa named his Joe Bonamassa named his first solo album A New Day Yesterday.
Yeah, well, it's nice, but I have the same admiration for them, and it's not like a little club where everybody's going, oh, I love you, you're so amazing. I love good playing, I love nice guitars, I like great bands, I like history, I love the blues. I don't see necessarily that I'm a part of it. I'm just a fan. I'm a fan of guitar players, and I don't want to be like Joe Bonamassa. I don't think I'm good enough. He's a great player, and I love what he does, and I want him to have that. It's his. I don't want a part of it. I couldn't be a part of it. So I do my own thing, and he's a perfectionist in his little area, and so am I. And whatever it is, I try and be better at it every day. And I don't know what it is. I'm me, and I'm trying to be a better me. And that includes writing music and arranging music and doing solo CDs and going out with a bunch of musicians and having a good time and hopefully entertaining a lot of people with big smile. I just want people to smile. It's not a lot to ask, but it is a lot to ask. I'm very aware of doing a great show. I love to see a great band. It's great music. It's the best thing in the world, and I love it as much as I did back in Birmingham in the sort of mid-60s. And I can see Little Richard play, or Chuck Berry, or I saw so many of those people. It was amazing. And then seeing Buddy Rich Big Band. It's moments in history, so little vignette, like the solo in Aqualung. Probably if I saw Chuck Berry that concert now, you think, oh, it wasn't that great, but it was then, and that's all that matters. It was a moment in time that gave you something that moved you on to better things.
That's fantastic, and it brings us to this moment in time where UCD, which is already out, Road Less Travelled, Great piece of work. I mean, I think it's the best solo album you've done, and great songs, and put it on repeat. Enjoy.
That is the biggest compliment you could give me. Yeah, thank you.
It's been a pleasure, Mike. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank
Cheers.
you. Thank you.